Sometimes you forget that you have a body. You go through the day like a ghost floating between to-do lists, scrolling through endless thoughts, endlessly thinking about thinking. You live behind your eyes, somewhere between memory and prediction, rarely in the warmth of what's happening now. You call it being responsible, productive, aware. But what it really is, what it has quietly become, is survival. You see, your mind is a storyteller, and when it doesn't feel safe, it builds stories to protect you. Stories about what might happen, about what could go wrong, about how you could fix everything if only you just think a little longer. It keeps you up at night, whispering through the hum of the ceiling fan, turning small things into spirals, spinning possibilities until the world blurs into noise. This is what it means to live too much in your head. It's when your inner world becomes so loud that you forget the simplicity of touch, of breath, of sound. It's when thought becomes your home, and also your exile. You don't mean to drift away from life. You're not doing it wrong. You've just been taught to value control more than connection. You've learned to equate thinking with safety, that if you can predict it, you can prevent it. If you can understand it, you can survive it. But what if survival isn't the goal anymore? What if the real task is to return, not to the idea of living, but to the experience of it? It begins quietly, the realization that you might be too far inside your own mind. It starts with fatigue that no amount of rest seems to fix, the kind that lives behind your eyes. You catch yourself rehearsing conversations before they happen, replaying ones that already did. You make mental movies of things that never will. You stare at the ceiling, heart racing, body still. It's not dramatic. It's subtle. That's what makes it so convincing. And slowly, you start to see the signs. You notice the first one when you realize how often you think about doing something instead of actually doing it. You draft messages in your head you'll never send. You plan walks you never take. You write whole chapters of your life in your imagination and then forget to live them. You spend more time analyzing feelings than feeling them. It's not laziness. It's self-protection. The mind is trying to buffer you from discomfort, from rejection, from the uncertainty of the real world. Psychologists call this avoidant coping, when your thoughts become a shield against emotional risk. But avoidance has a cost. Every time you think instead of act, you confirm the belief that safety lies in hesitation. And the longer you hesitate, the further life moves away. The remedy is not to force yourself into action. That would only create another rule. It's gentler than that. It's about noticing when the thought begins to spiral, and choosing, even for a moment, to inhabit your body. To feel the chair beneath you, the rise of your chest, the soft rhythm of breath. Because the body is the doorway out of the mind. The second sign reveals itself in your relationship with mistakes. You replay them endlessly, as if thinking hard enough could rewrite the past. You worry over every word you say, every silence you keep. You hold your memory like a courtroom, always gathering evidence for and against yourself. But perfection is not a moral virtue. It's an anxiety response. It's how the brain tries to guarantee acceptance in a world that once made you feel like love had to be earned. The prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for planning and control, becomes overactive, hijacking your sense of peace. You start to equate error with danger. And yet, real growth requires error. The nervous system learns safety not through control, but through recovery. Through realizing you can make mistakes and still be worthy, still be safe. When you let yourself be imperfect, you tell your brain a new story. We can be loved even here. That's when healing begins. Not in flawless execution, but in soft permission. The third sign comes disguised as restlessness. You can't stop thinking, can't stop checking, can't stop moving mentally even when your body is still. It's as if silence itself is unbearable. And so, you fill it, with screens, with plans, with self-improvement, with distraction. Anything to keep the noise going, because somewhere inside, quiet feels unsafe. This is what psychologists call hypervigilance, a nervous system tuned for threat. The body might be safe, but the mind doesn't believe it yet. When your early experiences taught you that peace could be broken without warning, stillness became synonymous with danger. So even when nothing is wrong, your mind scans for what could be. The work, then, is not to stop thinking but to teach your body that it can rest. That safety exists here now. This begins with tiny acts. Grounding your senses, slowing your breath, meeting your thoughts with curiosity instead of fear. It's not about silencing the noise. It's about creating a tone beneath it, A calm hum of presence that reminds your mind it no longer has to stand guard all the time. The fourth sign arrives when you realize how often your thoughts drift into futures that haven't happened yet. You live there, rehearsing outcomes, predicting disasters, bracing for disappointment. You become so skilled at anticipating that you rarely experience surprise or joy. Worry, at its core, is the imagination misused. It's creativity turned inward, a rehearsal of pain in the hope of preventing it. But the mind cannot prepare for every variable. It tries anyway, looping through infinite possibilities, because uncertainty feels unbearable. From a psychological standpoint, worry gives the illusion of control. The brain releases small bursts of dopamine each time it solves a potential problem, even if the problem doesn't exist. That's why worry can feel productive. But it's not. It's just exhausting. You begin to notice that the world doesn't need your constant vigilance to keep turning, that the people you love can exist beyond your mental watchtower. You learn that sometimes, calm is not ignorance, it's trust. And that's how you begin to return. Not through answers, but through surrender. The fifth sign is subtle but powerful. The way you intellectualize your emotions. Something hurts, and instead of crying, you explain it. You translate your pain into logic, into theories, into diagnoses. You turn heartbreak into research. You speak eloquently about attachment, boundaries, nervous system regulation. But somewhere beneath the vocabulary, there's a small quiet ache waiting to simply be felt. Psychologists call this cognitive distancing. It's when we use analysis to create space from vulnerability. It's the mind's way of saying, if I can understand it, I won't have to feel it. But emotion is not a problem to be solved. It's energy meant to be experienced and released. When you finally let yourself feel, really feel, the trembling, the warmth in your throat, the heaviness in your chest, something incredible happens. The emotion moves. It transforms. The body exhales. You realize that the only way out of emotion is through it. The mind might resist at first. It prefers control. But the heart knows that surrender is not weakness. It's wisdom. The sixth sign feels deceptively light. Daydreaming, idealizing, romanticizing your future. You picture the life you want in vivid detail. The peace, the home, the person who understands. You live there, in the imagined someday, because the present feels unfinished, unresolved, incomplete. Dreaming is beautiful. It's one of the mind's most creative gifts. But sometimes, it becomes a way to escape the discomfort of now. You live for potential instead of presence. Psychologically, this can reflect temporal dissociation, the gap between where your thoughts live and where your body is. When you feel stuck or uncertain, your mind travels forward to imagine a better state. But healing requires embodiment. Growth only happens where your feet touch the ground. The future is not a destination. It's a direction. And every small, imperfect action in the present is what builds the bridge toward it. You learn to let the dream inspire you, not imprison you. You begin to trust that reality, though imperfect, is where life unfolds in color. And then there is the seventh sign, the quiet awakening beneath it all. It happens when you start to see your thoughts instead of being them. You notice them arrive, rise, and fade, like waves against a shore. You realize you are not the storm. You are the sky that holds it. This awareness is not intellectual. It's felt. It's the calm beneath the chatter, the silence that listens. Psychologists describe this as metacognitive awareness, the ability to observe the mind's activity without getting lost in it. In mindfulness, it's the shift from identification to observation. I'm not anxious, I'm noticing anxiety. When you reach this place, even briefly, something softens. The mind still speaks, but it no longer rules. You stop trying to fix every thought and instead begin to understand it, to see its pattern, its purpose, its plea for safety. You realize that every overanalysis was your mind trying to love you in the only way it knew how. You sit quietly and whisper, "Thank you for trying to protect me." And for the first time, the mind relaxes. Because it finally feels heard. You begin to understand something gentle but profound. Your mind is not your enemy. It is your oldest companion. Creative, alert, brilliant, and sometimes afraid. It wants to help. It's just been overworked, over-anxious, overstimulated. It's been carrying too much responsibility, trying to manage your heart, your body, your world. So, you stop trying to silence it. You start listening. You ask what it needs. And often the answer is simple. Rest, trust, breath. You start grounding yourself in sensory anchors. Feeling the texture of the mug in your hands, the weight of your body on the chair, the rhythm of your breath. You begin to notice that awareness isn't in your head. It's in your whole being. Your thoughts still come and go, but they no longer pull you under. They move through you like clouds across a steady sky. You learn that the mind loves to move, to jump, to plan, to replay. But you don't have to follow it everywhere it goes. You can sit quietly in the middle of its motion. That's what presence is. Not the absence of thought, but the ability to stay grounded amid it. Slowly, you begin to experience life again. Not as a concept, but as a sensation. The warmth of sunlight on your skin. The hum of a quiet room. The taste of something you didn't rush through. You start to remember that life is not happening later. It's happening now. The thoughts will still come. They always do. But now, you meet them differently. You no longer ask them for prophecy or protection. You simply let them pass through, knowing you don't have to build a home inside each one. Because the truth is, you never really lived inside your mind. You just got lost there for a while. And like any good traveler, you're finding your way back. Back to the pulse of the world, the warmth of your body, the quiet rhythm of being alive. You begin to understand that thinking was never the problem. It was the imbalance, the over-reliance on thought at the expense of experience. When you live too much in your head, life becomes a theory. When you return to your body, it becomes a poem. So, you let your mind be what it is, a lantern. Sometimes flickering, sometimes bright, sometimes dimmed by weather, but always capable of light. You carry it gently now, knowing it was never meant to be the whole world. Only the guide that helps you move through it. And one quiet morning, you catch yourself breathing without analyzing it, smiling without rehearsing it, feeling without explaining it. You don't even notice when it happens. You're just here, awake, alive. And in that ordinary moment, something extraordinary occurs. You're not living in your head anymore. You're living, fully, in your life.